Helen's daughter was with her all her life until she was 5 years old. But now, due to slander by her independently wealthy ex, financially struggling Helen has lost joint custody of her daughter. According to Helen, her ex-husband believes that after the time of nursing, the mother's role is no longer necessary in a child's life, so is to be eliminated.
My daughter's dad believes that children don't need a mother after they're of the age past nursing. He's established that pattern before me and with me. That's when he came to take my daughter away and started the fight to remove her from me.
Therefore, this belief is his motivation to file emergency motion for sole custody. Yet a mother's nurturing is necessary throughout a child's life to provide stable mental health for the child. Otherwise, mental ill health may occur, such as but not limited to depression.
If you are without a mother in early childhood and into adulthood, you may suffer from low self-esteem, no personal control, and problems with family members, causing estrangement. These three factors, when present, can cause depression.
But since Helen's ex is adamant to take her daughter completely away from her, she has to fight just to regain equal joint custody for her daughter, to give her the nurturing that she needs for her well-being. This is Helen's hope. How Helen's ex is pursuing this is that he has filed an emergency motion stating the unsubstantiated claim that Helen is an unfit mother. In her own words, she explains further.
In December of 2021, I took my daughter to school one day. About an hour before I was supposed to pick her up from school, I got a call from my attorney. And they told me that I was not allowed to set foot on the school grounds, that I was not allowed to have any contact with my daughter whatsoever until we would go to court, that her dad had filed an emergency motion for full sole custody on the grounds that he felt I was endangering my daughter because of the man that I was involved with at the time. And his family is full of attorneys. They own 2 different law firms. And I had spent an immense amount of time with him and his family, and everyone felt the need unitedly to hide from me the fact that he had a criminal background. And that's why my daughter's dad felt I was endangering her, because I did not know this information about him. Between him and his family, it had all been hidden from me. So I did not have any contact with my daughter, even though she had spent her entire life with me, and she was 5 years old. We didn't get to spend Christmas together that year. I no longer had an attorney because my attorney was related to the man that I was involved with, and as soon as I knew what was going on and that what they had hidden from me, I removed him from my life. And because of that, it was a conflict of interest for his family member that had been representing me as an attorney, so they removed themselves from me. So I was by myself, without my daughter, without an attorney. And when I tried to explain to the judge my situation, that I did not know about his criminal background and I did not know what I was involved with because his whole family had hid it from me, not just him, the judge would not hear me, gave my daughter to her dad. I have been paying to see my daughter through a visitation facility every visit. I have been paying my daughter's dad child support for 2 years. I've been doing all of this. I have been fighting really hard to be able to keep my daughter in my life and to be a part of her life. I was served paperwork in the spring of this year, it's 2023 now, that her dad has filed for full sole custody, 100% custody in every way of my daughter. He's trying to completely eliminate me from her life in spite of the fact that I removed what he felt was a threat, even though I have been there for every visit and I have paid every child support payment, and I have proven over and over that I'm still a good mom. He is seeking to eliminate me from my daughter's life.
Helen has knowledge that the ex has alienated other mothers of his additional children before her and her daughter. This denoting an established pattern of malicious and controlling behavior that very likely will be damaging to her daughter.
So, in hindsight, I learned well into my relationship, into my marriage with my daughter's dad, that he has multiple other mothers, other children, and that while I was going through our divorce, I learned that he had been quite malicious with them as well, and he's done his best to alienate each of them from each of the children.
Substantiating her statement, Helen's ex's own family member submitted a letter to the court concerning him, stating, quote, "He seems to have a pattern of using women to create a child and then disowning each woman shortly thereafter." Furthermore, they state, quote, "Lately he seems to have completely succumbed to behavior disorders, becoming fixated on trying to destroy those closest to him." Helen believes the extreme controlling action that the ex has taken is evidence of a belief system that is prevalent from the cult he is involved with, that produces oppression for the child.
The church that my granddaughter's father goes to is very much a cult. I speak from personal experience. I went to this church for 20 years. Women are second-class citizens. They are brought up in this church to believe that the husband, that the man is number one, and anything he says is what goes. This church has been just a nightmare, a nightmare.
Helen is challenged now by the father of her daughter, who has deep pockets and very distorted view on the value of motherhood and a fierce devotion to a cult-like religious group that he now exposes their offspring to. The fundamentals of the group are profoundly disturbing and based in fear, especially while molding young children. I believe it's Helen's intent to keep her child's views in a sound and safe place rather than feeding this cult type culture that the father is experiencing and exposing her to.
Helen's ex has beliefs that coincide with this cult, who are also opposed to celebration of traditional holidays as well as birthdays, even for the daughter. So, what of Helen? Is she a fit mother? Well, please consider the following. Helen is legal guardian over a disabled family member. She is a certified foster parent, experienced substitute and preschool teacher, also a nanny, and a great nutritional chef. She owns her own cleaning business. All this is evidence that she is a very fit mother. Helen has taken the initiative to see a therapist to help her responsibly process the emotions as a result of the circumstances that she is facing. Her therapist has said in a letter to the court, quote, "Helen is a strong woman who is strengthened further by the presence of her daughter in her life. I can only guess the same goes for her daughter." I, as a producer of this film, am doing this pro bono for Helen, for I am witness of her good and nurturing nature, yet who is facing insurmountable, unjustified pressure just to keep her daughter from oppression. Her daughter needs the balance of her mother in her life. The intent of this campaign is not to slander, but to have Helen's story heard and understood. That is, Helen is seeking not to lose all custody of her daughter, so she will not lack her mother's nurturing, which is necessary for healthy childhood development. What is being asked is that Helen is given equal opportunity to be able to legally fight for equal time with her daughter. Any and all financial donations would be greatly appreciated, as Helen's ex is continually filing motions in court, creating an ongoing financial hardship.
Helen's resources are non existent and her financial obligations that allow her to remain in her daughter's life while she continues to fight in the family courts are mounting. Helen is a responsible and highly devoted mother to a sweet little girl who can't wait to see Mommy on every visit that's scheduled. It's my prayer and hope that you might provide financial assistance to Helen in her efforts to continue her fight.
To add insult to injury is injury added to slander. Though Helen's ex has lots of unearned income, she does not, so has had to overwork to then not even have quite enough finances for lawyer costs. In doing so, she has incurred an injury that she recently had an operation to reverse. She's lost finances that have been keeping her nearly afloat to continue her fight. Good news is, a generous donor has agreed to match dollar per dollar what other donors give, up to $500. So your donations will be doubled. So please, we ask you to give whatever you are willing or can give. Please help a little girl come home for Christmas. I am Dwayne. Thank you for viewing.